Maybe a doubleheader today. Nebraska football now, maybe Nebraska volleyball later. Big hole up the middle. Emmett Johnson with a huge run. Give to Johnson. Johnson up ahead. Touchdown, Nebraska. That may be the nail. Emmett Johnson, a 28-yard touchdown run.
Timing up the motion, watch the ball handling, leads to everybody working to the right from Purdue, and he cuts it back on their best player, Thieneman, and look at that ball security to the end zone. 31-14, and a brief sigh of relief here in Lincoln.
Longest rush of the season for Emmett Johnson. Very similar line to what he did last week against Northwestern, where he went for 12 rushes and 73 yards today.
Now it's 1st and goal. Johnson. Emmett Johnson. Touchdown. So hold everything.
I think all of this is a moot point if you go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, you make a great point. You make a great point.
I mean, that graphic we just showed.
Yeah.
And so there's an inside zone read, right? So let's stay in the present time here. Nice job of
57 yards already. Here's his 16th carry. Nice hole up the middle. Good bounce. And a cutback. Johnson. Another cutback. What a run down to the 16-yard line. Emmett Johnson picks up 29 yards.
Emmett Johnson just continues to impress.
That ball was out quickly, so it wasn't a factor.
This time back to the ground. Johnson slithers through. Johnson lowers the shoulder, still on his feet, across midfield. Finally stopped at the 47.
3rd and 5. Johnson, the tailback. He carves straight ahead. Foot race time. And then he's wrestled down. 1st and goal at the 5 by Chapman, a gain of 42.
Different occasions by these linemen, by Dylan's uncle, who've trained that crew to do it pretty well. Corcoran does an awesome job at left tackle, but it was the check and then the counter check and the patience to see what was going on up in front.
6'6" Fedoni. Couldn't get to that. Now out of the backfield, here's Emmett Johnson. His first touch of the day is a reception, which he dances forward with for a 1st down.
You know, that'll come in very handy here next week when Illinois comes to town for the Big Ten opener on Friday night on Fox. Here's Harburg with a completion and a 1st down to Emmett Johnson out in the northern Iowa territory. Here's Johnson again. Johnson bounces it outside. Johnson turns on the speed. Touchdown, Nebraska.
About competition, competitive moments, earning your time on the field. Emmett Johnson, he's had a lot of elite competitive moments. I think you can remember this one as this crowd is back on their feet.
Good pass.
Emmett Johnson in at running back. Johnson breaks a tackle. Now Johnson with room out in front, and he takes it inside the 30. Raioala setting up a screen with plenty of space out front. This is Johnson, and Emmett Johnson makes up for that lost yardage. How about another flag?
He's so jacked. That shelf, terrific. 1st and 10 at the 39. Here's a run. And Johnson picks up some great yardage.
Credit Banks on the outside. One of those receivers blocking in a big way. Throw it over the middle one more time. 1st down and then some. Emmett Johnson speeds in. Touchdown, Nebraska.
See if we can do this, Jason, right here.
It's a contender this year. They've fallen on hard times, a tougher schedule the last couple of weeks, including Ohio State, a game that they were in. Here's another run. Johnson twisting and turning down to the 11. It's a gain of 13.
But Holgerson said that I completely agree with. Before you catch the ball, you got to help in the run game.
Johnson gets the carry again. Big hole up the middle. First down, Cornhuskers. Raioala sets up the screen. It's Johnson with blockers in front of him. Emmett Johnson in the clear. Close to midfield.
There was nothing going downfield.
One timeout left plus the 2-minute timeout. Handoff up the middle. Huge run, first down. Huskers.
You could see him overthinking everything. Simplifying the offense has allowed him to shine.
Emmett Johnson with space. Johnson still on his feet, shakes one, shakes another across the 45-yard line. Critical for Wisconsin to get this defense off the field. A long drive. Raioala wide open. Emmett Johnson down the sideline. Emmett Johnson out in the open. Johnson brought down at the 45-yard line. Famous here in Nebraska for years. Trying to get back to the physicality. Raioala all day to throw, dumps it off. Emmett Johnson again slips a tackle, stays on his feet. Near the 10-yard line. It's the Emmett Johnson game in Nebraska.
I mean, my goodness, this guy is have a day, Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson. This is, I mean, he's the total package. Look at that spin move. That is so special.
Issues on the Husker sideline, 2nd down 10. From the shotgun. Good hole for Emmett Johnson. He's got another first down. Huskers now inside of Hawkeye territory. Big run from Emmett Johnson.
Nice moment for a couple of seniors on this year's Matt Rule team. 2nd down, Johnson.
Johnson breaks free. Finally hawked down inside the 10. Emmett Johnson, did you?
Oh my goodness. I had to take a step back. You talk about
Huskers need 3. Johnson out of the backfield. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Find a way to get through the traffic. Want you to watch the linebacker, Bam Crouch. He's got Johnson in coverage. See, he can't get through the traffic in time, and all you need is just a nice.
Bruno Dahl went out of the game a moment ago. An Akron defensive end and a lot of room to run. Bouncing off to the left side. Emmett Johnson has a chance to take it all the way, and he does. Touchdown, Nebraska.
The jump cut as Emmett Johnson ends up seeing the flow, and just as he presses the hole, that jump cut gets him back against the grain because of the movement they got on the interior of the Huskers offensive line.
Then on 2nd down, Emmett Johnson ran the ball for 8 yards, so Nebraska's still in a good position. And they're in an excellent position right now. Johnson right through the A-gap. The first down, and then all the way down inside the 5-yard line. Malcolm DeWalt kept him out of the end zone. But you could drive a tractor from Nebraska through that hole.
Coming right at you. The pile being moved by Justin Evans in the interior of that Huskers offense.
Heinrich Harburg and Luke Lindenmeyer shift across the formation as their 2 tight ends. 2nd and goal at the 3. Johnson wide open, caught it. Touchdown. On 3rd down, handoff. Emmett Johnson cuts and scores. Piece of cake for Emmett Johnson to score again. 3rd touchdown of the game, and an extra point away from a 40-burger on the board for the Huskers.
Let's check Heinrich Harburg. It's going to come all the way across the formation for a kick-out block. I mentioned the patience earlier that lacked in Quentin Ives. To make that quick cutback, you see the ability for Emmett Johnson.
34 penalties on Houston Christian. Emmett Johnson. Nice patience. And he's just so quiet behind those 2 big blockers. Oh, that's how you read your blocks. Spencer, I see a little bit of tear in your eye. You're loving that. Lindenmeyer starts in the backfield. His son of Johnson. And Johnson spins into the end zone. Touchdown, Nebraska.
I tell you what, he earned every bit of that, partner. The right inside linebacker, Trent Zappi, number 18. Bailey Zappi's defensive-minded brother just nailed him in that hole, but he spun out of it.
Johnson's got it. Spinning. Did he? He did! Touchdown, Nebraska! Another one for Emmett Johnson.
Can you do what you need to do when you need to do it? That's what constitutes balance. Down here, they felt they needed to run it. That's exactly what
completed 77% of his passes so far with 8 touchdowns and no interceptions. Here's a guy that helps the cause. Emmett Johnson rips one off for about 14.
Ball at the 24. Extra tight end out there. 12 personnel. Emmett Johnson. First down to the 10. Kid played in this game against Michigan State in 2023. They run reverse. Johnson behind Harburg. Touchdown. Well, they got Raioala out of the game. This is the kid that had to play the position in East Lance 23. At 17 2 weeks ago. Johnson, Emmett, all the way.
He is the person at the point of attack that has to hold his block for far too long. He holds it, he continues to hold it, and now you have Emmett outside and do what we were gonna do.
Emmett Johnson, touchdown.
But how about Heinrich coming around? He has nobody to block because he's blocked so well. And Emmett Johnson looking like Emmitt Smith.
And now they have a firm relationship going into this season.
The star running back is Emmett Johnson, and he gets the first carry of the day, and it's a big one and a first down.
Rotating different guys, trying to find the right combination to keep Dylan clean.
Back to the run game for Johnson, weaves his way through a couple more tackles, and back-to-back first downs to start the game on the ground. At this moment, though, a third down for the Maryland defense. Emmett Johnson, first down. He is running hard today.
And he has Glasgow completely fooled.
Emmett Johnson, right up the gut, and another first down. Raioala 4 of 5 on this drive. And he's going to give it back to Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson just dances his way to the sideline. Husky is the last man there. He allows for help to come get Johnson, who stays on his feet. What a run! A 50-yard bob and weave.
With Nebraska on the march after forcing the punt. Keep it with Johnson. Foot race to the edge. He slips out of there. Opening drive score for Nebraska.
Watch the edge pressure is going to come off the backside. I believe that was Bruss. 33 just outruns him. Trying to stop Emmett Johnson. Great job right there. Forward for 6.
And it's back with Johnson, who stutter steps his way through 2 tackles. U-line missed also. And some of those sure tacklers for Northwestern. Motion, and they run it. And it is wide open. Wow, that is a gaping hole. Emmett Johnson. All started with the pick on third down by Javen Wright, the Nebraska defense. Johnson seeking, driving. Johnson, touchdown, Nebraska.
The push, the collapse on this right side. And then it's just...
So far, 11 runs, 7 passes for this Nebraska offense, and that number's going to keep going up if Emmett Johnson keeps churning them out. 14-yard pickup to move the sticks.
Right now, they get the pass interference.
And it's first and goal just inside the 10. It's Johnson up the middle. Johnson still on his feet for the touchdown. Too much EJ for the TD. 10-yard scamper to extend the lead.
Excellent blocking at the point of attack by Lutovsky, the guard, and the center, Justin Evans, daring the guy to throw the football.
Emmett Johnson. Big hole. Johnson to the outside. Emmett Johnson pushed the pile. Bishop Fitzgerald caught some pain at the end. A lot of 22-year-olds and trying to be that guy that is setting an example, being a vocal guy. This guy's just doing a little bit of everything physically right now. Emmett Johnson with another tough run to pick up 14 yards.
Making sure that you're up to date on that Nebraska drive. Going screen underneath to Emmett Johnson. Look out. Look out. Look out. Look out. 56 yards. Touchdown. Emmett getting it done.
Defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle for UCLA knew that this would come. But if you want to have a screen, you got to get it started. Take a look at the top of the screen. Wide receiver.
This pace and this offense is a far cry from what we last saw on the road when we had them in Minnesota.
Absolutely right.
Emmett Johnson again. Boy, he is tough. That's another first down. You know, this week, Dana Holgerson said that they weren't going to go vanilla in offense at all. Out of the I formation, Johnson dots the I. And he rambles in for the touchdown.
I don't think we've seen this offense move this seamlessly at any point during the season. No. This is so impressive to
against anybody. Emmett Johnson totes it. And he dashes them for a first down. That's 12 yards on play number 1.
And that's a bad start.
Well, they've done that so far in this opening drive, Nebraska. UCLA's got to find a way to stymie this attack. Lateef, beautifully done. The wheel route to Johnson. Emmett Johnson.
This is man-to-man coverage, something you're playing because they're running the ball so well, right? So if you're John Vons, I understand why you get beat here, right? You see that fake, and then you lose your attention, and now you're on Lateef. However, you've got to be worried about this guy streaking down the sideline. A perfect pass by TJ Lateef, but a perfect design.
Quarterback in also on this play. It's like Harburg.
It is. He gives Johnson, finds the hole. Look at the speed. Emmett Johnson explodes into the secondary. Finally tracked down by Dejon Lane. EJ nearly took it all the way.
Well, they run this weak side, even though they overload the right side. Look.
It was Aldavion Collins going down the field who made the interference, but I believe maybe he was blocked into him as Lateef floats. Perfect touch. Emmett Johnson makes the grab.
That's doing something.
They will ride this guy all day long. And Johnson, second effort, out close to the 30.
Against good teams, they have not tackled that well.
Again, Johnson outside, and he's busted one. He's 40. He's 20. He's 10. He is touchdown. Johnson, give it to him. Hit. Not sure he got in. Second push. And let's see. Nebraska thinks they've scored. And they have.
It's a nice job by Shire, 43, to hit him short. He's not in there. Now watch.
He's laying on a player.
That's how they teach it right there. Almost like a basketball pick.
A lot of finesse in that block. Look Johnson again. Emmett Johnson. Knocked out of bounds at the 37.
To try to give himself a chance on fourth down or a shorter field goal.
Yeah, into the wind. Target line was 32-yard line. Emmett Johnson with a catch. Breaks another tackle. Spins down to the 21. That's a first down.
Nebraska out of the gun here. Not a big fan of that.
Third down and short. Big fan of this, though, I would guess. And that's Johnson, who makes a couple of moves.